You give me the cue. Oh, we are on. Welcome, everyone. Happy Wednesday, happy November. Glad to see you. Want to share a couple things as it relates to Friends Homes in general, and then I would like to break it down a little bit about some things specific to our West Campus, and then, of course, as always, open it up for questions and comments. So I keep telling myself every month that I'm going to do better at putting these things in some type of order that makes sense. But what happens, literally, right after I get through with this, I'll have either staff or residents come to me and say, oh, you need to say this. Oh, don't forget about that. And I just make notes. And my notes are like chicken scratch. I should have been a doctor because I can barely read my own handwriting. So then I look at this, and I'm like, now what did that mean? And so anyway, I'm trying to put things in order, and we'll see how it goes. First thing I want to share, for those of you that do use CareMerge, we have our resident handbook. Our Friends Homes resident handbook is out on CareMerge. The hard copy is at the printers, and like everyone else, it's delayed. So we're hoping that we'll get that in the next 30 days, but I'm telling you, probably by the end of the calendar year, we should have hopefully that hard copy. Just like everything else in this world, as soon as you put something out, it's time to edit. So what I will share with you, one of the biggest tasks we did this year with the handbook is to try to make something for Friends Homes. Now there are some unique things about West, just like there's some unique things about Guilford. As you read through it, if you see comments or edits, and I love y'all because y'all definitely tell us grammatically when we spell something wrong, or that's all wonderful. Just take good notes, let us know. I'm gonna dump this on Linda. Maybe I apologize for doing that, but maybe you can just give it to her, and then at some point when we do our next update, we will compile all that and we will get all that stuff addressed. So very excited to have some type of conclusion on that. It is on CareMerge. Look forward to the hard copies, which should be coming very soon. Things are moving along with the wellness project. Wellness Bistro had our meeting update today. They gave us a final hard date, which they said they will not extend anymore. Now that's funny, right? That's funny. Okay. So the date they told us that we, not you, but we can have the certificate of occupancy is May 2nd. So that's, again, when I talked to you last time, they told us it's going to be because they told us March 22nd, and that it was going to get delayed at least 30 days, and they said, give me 2 or 3 weeks, and we'll have a firm date. The firm date is now May 2nd. It will take us probably most of May to kind of get in and do our things, whether it's getting some equipment in, getting for the bistro to figure out how the bistro actually works. So what we're telling our residents, which is you, that we think by the end of May, part of the building will be available to you. The bistro most likely will not be available till the first part of June because we have to get the staff in there, they have to get trained on the equipment, the service, and things like that. So I would say best case scenario, it's going to be available to you by the end of May. Worst case scenario, first week in June. And I'm sure y'all remember that, and y'all will hold me to that. But anyway, so that's what they told. That's as of today. That's what they told us. The dining room. But this is good news. We're going to do a tour of it. Yeah. So we brought that up, and we are actually. It's going to be on a Saturday, and it's either going to be the first or second Saturday in December, which is not that far away. They're doing drywall now. And we think by the end of November, most of the drywall will be up, which means we can actually see what these rooms look like. The finishes are not done, but we can actually see it. So both floors will be available to us. I hate to say, if you're unable to walk up a flight of steps, you may only be able to see the first floor because they have not done the punch through on the second floor yet to get us on the, I'm sorry, I get confused. This is the ground floor, which will be available to everybody. The first floor, they have not punched through to the 5,000 building first floor. So if you're unable to walk up the steps, you won't be able to see the first floor. But those that can, you will be able to go to the first floor as well. Once we get the actual date, either the first or second Saturday, we will let you know. Our idea will be that we will do this in groups. It will be a led group. It will not be an open, you walk around, you'll be led. We think we'll open it to West and Guilford residents. We think we'll have a good turnout, so it may be an all-day affair. But once we get it out and figure out who wants to go and see it, then we'll determine what the time frames are and who will be leading those various tours. But very excited about that because it is something to be seen. Dining room project is going very well, still on target. They're telling us, looking as far as we will have access to it in July, worst case in August. Things are moving forward. It actually was a request that came up from one of you, still taking a long time. We're getting renderings of what the dining room looks like. So we've actually got 3 renderings that are coming very soon. 2 of them you've already seen, because if you go in the resident lounge / dining room, there's this nice little thing that kind of blocks off. Those are the renderings. So we're getting 2 of those renderings. And probably for me, one of the most important renderings is the table setting. So it's like a bird's eye view looking down at the dining room so you can see how the dining room is laid out. I do want to share with you through feedback from the resident lounge and feedback from residents. We have, when I say reduced, I don't mean like drastically reduced, but we have reduced the number of seats they originally had planned in there. I mean, they were packing you in, and we didn't want that. We didn't want that for 2 primary reasons. One, for sound. You know, a lot of us, as we get older, it's hard to hear, so we want to make sure we can spread people out a little bit, and for safety. We want people that have, whether it's walkers, whatever the case may be, they can get around without feeling like that they are cramped. So we are spreading people out. I think, Donna, you and I did the calculations, 125, 135, what it can seat at one time. So we will look forward to having it to you hopefully in 2 to 3 weeks. I don't think the other renderings have been put up yet, but I know Don has done a work order. They'll go back up on the wall. We delayed on putting that up because we thought the wall, are they up? Oh, okay, good. Well, there you go. But the other 3 will be up very soon. We thought that wall was going to have to come down, so we were kind of waiting to see, but they were able to work around it without moving the wall, so that was good. Greenway Connector. Some of y'all care about this. I'm talking to this like it's got a microphone. Some of y'all care about this, some of you don't. I care about it. So we're working with the City of Greensboro Parks and Rec to extend the Bicentennial Greenway to connect through our property and to connect up to Woodbrook Drive. We are having or they are having, I should say, a Zoom meeting with people in the neighborhood that want to learn more about it. And it's going to be held, the Zoom meeting for our residents are going to be here both at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. I believe the date is November 16th. If it's not already on the calendar, Hannah will make sure it's on there. I don't know if it'll be held, I assume it may be in the living room. I assume that, okay. It's going to be in the living room. Don't feel obligated to come because there is actually a link. It's a YouTube link that you can go and you can watch the presentation. It's about a 12-minute presentation, but at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, after they do the presentation, then the City of Greensboro Parks and Rec will come on live. An engineer that they've hired to work on the project will be there, and then they will have an open forum for discussion, for Q&A. So if you're interested, you want to ask questions, try to come on the 16th to either the 12 o'clock or 6 o'clock. And I know that's right in the middle of mealtime, but I assume they have logic why they did that at that time. I'm not sure, but that's the time they gave us. So that is not just for you, that's really for all of our neighbors. So for all of our neighbors that are around this property will be part of that opportunity. So that's on the 16th. Sarah and I and some of our board members and capital campaign cabinet members have been meeting with the hall chairs, so thank y'all for allowing this opportunity to kind of come in and talk a little bit about the capital campaign. That's been going very well. I think we've met now with 28, this is West and Guilford, 28 of the 32, so we're almost done. For those that have not been able to attend, I will share with you that of our $1.2 million capital campaign, we've already raised $863,000. So we're going from the silent phase into the public phase. We're getting ready to go out beyond our residents. We're going to talk to our contract partners, our staff, other people in the community. So that's going very well. I will tell you one of the biggest things that we're getting feedback from is the component not necessarily the bridge, but this new endowment. The endowment is what I think is speaking to a lot of people, a true permanent endowment, knowing that if your money goes into that endowment, it's going to be there for perpetuity. It's never going to be touched. So when my wife and I decided that we were going to support the campaign, that's kind of what I focused on too, knowing that when I'm not here, my gift is still given. So I appreciate all those that have supported the campaign, and again, thank you for allowing us to come and visit you at your hall meeting. Annual giving campaign, we've set a goal. This is for current needs of our residents, for resident financial assistance. We set a goal of $150,000, and we're at $93,000 so far. So very excited about that. We're getting ready to do a letter to our vendors and some outside people. So I feel very confident that we will continue to close in on that goal. And then employee appreciation. Guilford finished their employee appreciation campaign at the end of September, and that was very successful. I know Wes is going to be very successful as well, although that's not something that we do. That is led by you, the residents. I'd like to give a shout out because I know how much it means to our employees every year. And I think it goes through the end of November, and I think so far y'all raised like $35,000 or $36,000. So just, although I'm not part of that, on behalf of the employees, I want to say thank you because, again, during this time of year, I know that goes a long way. COVID booster, all right, or the third shot. I've heard so many different terminology. So we've been up and down and around. I think Donna's been communicating this very well. At West, our COVID booster clinic is going to be here on November the 15th, which is a Monday. I will trust Donna's, what she puts out as far as the times and things like that between her and Linda, so I won't even try to get into that. But make sure you read her weekly updates. But we're very excited to be partnering with Neil Medical, our pharmacy company, who will be here to be providing that booster. I'm very excited because I thought it was just for residents, but they informed us that they're also doing it for our staff and our contractors, so I will be in line. I will tell you, my wife just got hers this weekend, and it wasn't that bad. So she did the Pfizer though. So we did Moderna, right? We did Moderna. I think it's a half dose. Is that right? Okay. So if you have not thought about it, make sure, I think you have to bring your card, your COVID card, just get prepared, but it is on November the 15th. So very excited about that. As we talk about that, we are still under a mask mandate in Guilford County. And I'm going to tell you, it messes me up when I go outside of Guilford County because I still think everybody's the same. I was in Atlanta last week for a conference for National Leading Age. These are, it's a National Society for Retirement Communities. And Georgia's a little different, if you don't know that. It's a little different. So I'm walking around, we're all walking around with our mask, and half the people are, they're not doing anything. And sometimes I'll go outside of Guilford County and I walk into convenience stores. I'm like, where's your mask? Well, I'm not in Guilford County anymore. So, but right now we're still under a mask mandate. So I still want to continue to encourage you when you're outside of your apartment to wear your mask. And those that you associate with, continue, because we're still trying to beat this down. We are seeing the numbers in Guilford County come down. I think overall the state, we still have a lot of people that are not vaccinated. So we still need to be diligent. As far as guests, we are still allowing guests to visit in your apartment. We're not at this time allowing guests in the common areas. I will tell you, it will change. Guests will be able to come back and be able to enjoy the amenities. It's coming, so don't lose hope on that. But right now, we are continuing just to limit our guest visits to residents in their apartments. So thank you for working with us on meeting that expectation. Currently, I think I told you last month that the board approved the budget for fiscal year 22, which we gave out the employee increases, which was great, well received. I'm working on the actual increase letter that we do every year, the formal increase letter that will be coming to you, as well as our ancillary cost. Our ancillary costs for some things are going up because guess what? Most of those ancillary costs are driven from staff. So we pretty much raise most of our hourly staff wages between $1 and $2 an hour. So when we're trying to calculate what the ancillary costs are going to be, they're going to be adjusted accordingly based upon the time that they're serving. So that increase letter should be coming to you by the end of November. And it'll be in your, I call them cubbies. I'm not sure what y'all call them, but in your cubbies, so by the end of November. Now, I know this doesn't quite make up for the increase that Friends Homes is passing on to you, But I did hear the final COLA, cost of living, is 5.9%. Is that correct? Yeah. So hey, again, that's good. So hopefully that will help limit some of the impact that our increases pass on to you. But I thought that was good to get a final number because we heard ranges from 4 to 6.5, so 5.9%. I want to talk to you a little bit about programming and participation. I know you cannot wait to get back to life as usual. Our dining room, and then our wellness center, and our bistro, we too cannot wait for a lot of reasons. So one of the things that we're working on pre-COVID, and now as we're coming out of COVID, is our programming and activities, even outside of friends' homes. Not just activities that are happening here, but what's happening outside of here. Where can we go? Whether it's even a little bit further trips, whether maybe even it's an overnight trip, maybe it's on the weekends, maybe it's in the evening. We're looking at everything. I share this for one primary reason. We need y'all to participate. So one of the things that I will say when I first got here, what I found, or I believe I saw, was our programming was going down and down and down. Because sometimes we have good anticipation. I want to go. And then I change my mind. And guess what? What do? Well, if we don't have a certain amount of people, we cancel it. There's nothing worse to me than canceling an event. Because if you got a couple people that want to go and say, well, we didn't get 5 people, so we're going to cancel. Well, for those 5 people, that's very disheartening. So we have Hannah now, we have Mary, and they are very excited about getting out and getting going. So one of the things we're talking about is as we do these programmings, communicate on what you want to do, where you want to go, things you want to see, but we are going to do our best not to cancel programs because we want y'all to get out and we want you to enjoy life and all the things that are out there. But what I share with you on that is as we get back into the groove of things, we have a budget. You know that. And so we have a budget number of transportation hours and things like that. So where in the past where we try to save those hours because taking one person, say to the pumpkin patch, that I think we're doing, it's probably not good use of that one driver's time. We want more. But guess what we're doing? We're still going to the pumpkin patch. Whether we got one person or we got 5 people, maybe we'll have 10 people. Who knows? So I just encourage you, if you're willing and you want to participate, sign up, show up, and look forward to us getting outside of these walls and getting back into the real world. So very excited. Glad to have Hannah on board and Mary. I feel like I see you over at Gilbert just as much as I've seen her over here. So just watching the collaboration has been beautiful. So very excited about that. All right, I want to talk a little bit about the board. The board is still working on a lot of things. We just had another meeting yesterday about our strategic plan. The last thing you want me to do is read to you, but I'm going to read a little bit. So the board is working on a new 5-year strategic plan that they will approve hopefully in December. And what I want to do, they've tweaked a little bit our mission. They tweaked a little bit our vision. But the big thing they did what's called a SWOT analysis. So we started this back in April. We've been working on this since April. We looked at friends' home strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats. We looked at those things and we had developed what we believe is what we need to be focusing on over the next 5 years. So I'm going to read some things to you, which is rule number 1. You never read to an audience, but I am, because I want you to know what some of the things they're looking at doing. So under certain sections, we have focus topics. And under those focus topics, we have action items. I'm not going to read the action items. I'm just going to read the focus topics. So under governance, they're challenging us to look at diversity, equity, and inclusion. We also have the Presbyterian Home Management Service Agreement. It's coming, it ends next December. Ends December of 23. That's a big ordeal. So they're going to actually start looking at it next year. They're looking at doing a pandemic assessment. What have we learned from the last year and a half? What has changed? What is going to be forever changed? And what are we doing about it? Under technology, they want us to reassess our technology and security, both for business as well as your personal information. Telehealth. The world's changing. If we've learned anything, when you couldn't go to a doctor says, pull out your phone, I want to do a FaceTime video with you. We're looking at telehealth opportunities. High-speed internet. Okay? So, I'm going to talk about that in a second, is one of the items. They want to talk a little bit, how do we strengthen our Quaker identity? As Quakers, they're not growing in abundance, okay? So how do we hold on to our Quaker principles, our ideals? So how do we strengthen that? They want to talk a little bit about investing with Quaker values. They want to continue to talk about philanthropic support outside of these walls. Under resident quality of life, they want to talk about resident engagement. They want us to zero in on transportation and opportunities for transportation. Programming for residents. Utilization of green space. Once all this is done, whether it's the North Track or any areas, how do we want to use this space? They want us to do a full assessment of our overall security. I'm talking about our physical security of the campus. They want us, we've got a policy on sustainability. They want us to take it another level of sustainability. A big area we're focused on is workforce development as it relates to recruitment, retention, and diversity within our workforce. And they want us to look at future service opportunities for our residents and medical support services for our independent living residents. So some of these, hopefully you're like, hey, we've been talking about that, right? So they're hearing you. So that is going to be reviewed in December. And then hopefully once that's done, I can get you a hard copy so you can see that and you can see where we go from there. All right, a couple more things related to Friends Homes, and then I'm going to do a couple West things and open it up for questions. I want to brag on one of our employees, Travis, hopefully I say his last name right, Mullinex? Mullinex. How many of y'all know Travis in our dining? Some of y'all know, probably works in healthcare, but he's been in dining, been here for about 7 or 8 years. All right. If you don't know him, you're missing out. This guy is one of the most humble, resident-focused, caring, big heart, unassuming. He's kind of in the background, but he's always there lending a hand. Well, there was a statewide program that was done through the Culture Change Coalition through the state. And they said, hey, send us your star employees that you believe are the epitome of what it means, what we've been going through. So we submitted several names. Guess what? Travis got 3rd place out of the state. So we're very excited. Yeah, thank you. Let's do a clap there. So he got recognized. He got 3rd place, and I didn't get to see the video before it got submitted, but they did a video, and people talked about him, and I got goosebumps listening to it. But if you have not met Travis and you have some extra time on your hand, try to find him and tell him congratulations. Those are the type of people that we continue to try to attract here at Friends Homes. And these are the type of people you want here at Friends Homes because they represent who we are. I shared with you about the strategic plan about high-speed internet. I do want to tell you that we have done, as you know, I've shared this before, our Spectrum contract does not end until May of 23, but we have done an assessment of our internet needs. We have got a contract that's been submitted to us through the company that's doing our new construction, providing the internet there, on what it would cost for them to come and go ahead and put the internet here at West. And they said if we can sign the agreement within the next 30 days, we should have the new internet set up by April, I'll say May timeframe, which I know is still a way away, but it's still closer than it was, yesterday. So I'm very excited about that. Because for those of you that use the internet a lot, whether it's through your TV, your phone, or whatever, or, I don't think it's going to help with me, because we're still using Spectrum to push out these type of programs, and the coax that's going through the walls is old, and the new company that we're using for internet is not using coax. It's called Cat 6, whatever that means, but it's supposedly the latest and greatest. So I think until Spectrum is out of here, we might not resolve all the glitches with our in-house channel, but we're not giving up. We'll continue to try. I got a couple things about Friends Homes West, and then I'm opening up for comments from you guys. So, let's see. My apologies. We had a service of remembrance here, on Monday? Because Guilford was Tuesday. Wait, what's today? Yeah, Monday, because Guilford's was yesterday. So, whether you realize this or not, this is the second year in a row that this was only really staff. And then last year, I think it was even like a handful of staff because we were under restrictions. And one of the things we talked about after we did this on Monday was that, you know, it just doesn't feel right, right? Because we've lost a lot of people, but we've also been disconnected for a long time. So I want to give kudos to Linda and Donna and the team. They are now working with, I think you can work with some residents as well too, but looking at coming together again in January, to do a true, I don't think it's going to be called a remembrance ceremony, but it's kind of that same flavor, if you will, but for the last 2 years. Really just bringing people together as a community. It still, at this point in time, will just be residents, okay? I can't tell you what the future holds, where we're going to be in January. That's one of the reasons we're putting out to January, because we're still hopeful, right? You never know. But right now, we'll tell you it's just really for residents, for residents. But we're looking at sometime in early January. So I am truly sorry for those that were not able to participate on Monday. I do know it was recorded. I'm a little nervous on the quality of the recording. Maybe it's just me that it has problems with, but it is on CareMerge. I do think there was a YouTube link that went up as well, but we're going to come back together as a community, and we're going to do something in January to acknowledge the loved ones that we lost over these last 2 years. The last thing I have for West is I want to talk a little bit about dining. You know, y'all been through a lot, continue to be through a lot, and so I think here lately we've had to scale back our dining program on Saturdays, and although not ideal, it is due to the lack of servers. I will tell you, because people keep asking this, when will we bring it back? We need 2 more. Is this me? It keeps like it's going out. Teresa, are you playing with that? Oh, what's it? Oh, was it? Yeah. Okay. I got it. Okay. I don't feel like I can hear it now. Can you hear me okay? All right. So we need 2 more servers, and we're actively interviewing. I believe one of them, a job offer has been made, but once we get these 2 server positions filled, then we can go back to whatever you want to call this, life as usual or life as normal. So we're just waiting on two servers. I would like to say Guilford was in a better position, but they're not. They need 4 servers, and yeah, so they're interviewing there, but they may be a little bit longer out. So keep your fingers crossed that the people we're interviewing now will accept and will start with us very soon. So I think with that, that's all I had. So what I'd like to do now is ask you, what questions, comments do you have for the group? And I think she's coming with a mic. Okay.
How much did you say the new servers are going to be paid?
The new servers. Okay. So I cannot tell you about specific employees, as you can imagine. Great question. So as of, I'm going to say December 1st, because we're making another little tweak. The lowest paid position at Friends Homes will be $13 an hour. Typically, that is going to be your wait staff and your housekeepers. Other positions, I'm making this up, floor techs, cooks, CNAs, they're going to make more than that. But our minimum pay for any employee is going to be $13 an hour. The reason why I want to say that's a great question is because I've had people say, well, I don't understand why you can't get more people in here. We literally could have these positions filled just like that, if we're willing to pay these people what they're asking for. Right or wrong, we have made a decision out of fairness that we are taking care of our employees. We are not going to bring someone in, I'm picking on a waitstaff person that says, I want $15 an hour. We're not going to bring someone in and pay them $15 when we've got people that have been here 2 or 3 years making $13.50 or $14. It's just not fair. Right? So we've made that decision. Has it caused us to be a little slow? Yes. But at the end of the day, we're taking care of those staff that have stuck it out. They're here. They've been with us. So I hope that answered your question. Okay. Thank you.
I thought I'd heard that some neighbors had blocked the Greenway right away. Has that been resolved?
Okay, so nobody really blocked it. What happened was Friends Homes donated land that ran across the creek, or by the creek, on what I call the north track, to the left of the bridge. When it got to the right side of the bridge, it then had to cross 2 homeowners' property, private homeowners. And then it reconnected back up to what we call the land, that's where I always see deer playing, kind of on the other side of all the building that we're doing. Those 2 homeowners said they were supportive of the Greenway, just not through their backyard. So it wasn't they blocked it, they just said, yeah, you're not coming through my backyard. So then the city, that's why we've been a little delayed, the cities had to go back and find another route. And that route is connecting now to Woodbrook. I like seeing Teresa with a little pep in that step.
Have you ever considered tipping the wait staff so you could get more help?
That has come up more than you know. I'll say yes, we have considered, but not for long. As you know, right or wrong, we're a no tipping community. The tips we give is through your employee appreciation. The one thing I will share with you is that Friends Homes, when we're full, has 400 employees. And there's a lot of people behind the scenes, not just those people you see front and center, that are working very hard. And so it causes a little bit of a morale issue too, from a tipping standpoint. But yes, you bring up a good point. Most wait staff are used to earning their tips. But at this point in time, we're not doing that. But it was discussed. Any other comments, questions?
My question is multiple choice.
All right.
The only possible answers are yes, maybe, or no.
Got it. I'm ready. Go, Richard.
Is Friends Homes going to move the 40 healthcare beds from West to Guilford, so there'd be 40 extra beds at Guilford, but there would be 0 healthcare beds here?
Maybe. So, and great question. I'll tell y'all, like I've shared before, I'm trying to think how to say this. Some of the feedback I get from some of you is, you're always talking so far in the future. We don't care about 6 months from now. I want to know what's happening now. Don't tell me, the whole concept about the healthcare beds, we're talking 5, 7, 12, 15 years from now. So I'm going to answer your question, but I'm just letting you know it's not something that you should be thinking about right now, because the board has not approved anything. When we did a long-term community plan, just like I told you about the resident handbook, once it comes out, it's ready to be edited. They did this resident community plan over 3 years ago. It was 6 phases. Phase 3, remember, we're going to be 4 years before we can get done with phase 1 here. Phase 3 has us looking at our healthcare, our 40 assisted living, 40 skilled, and making all of that assisted living, but with memory care and ability to stay within those rooms, if you will, or those areas without having to go to skilled nursing. The concept had skilled nursing being over at West. And here's the thing you may or may not know, even though I've shared it before. The way things are moving is skilled nursing is not going away. It's not going away. But it is becoming it's becoming less and less the place that people will end up. Because the government, the insurance, and the people themselves do not want to be in skilled nursing. They want to be in their home. They want to be able to receive services in their home to keep them from having to move to a higher level of care. That's where the world's going. So when the board was planning this, again, they're thinking 5, 10, 15, 20 years out. That's why it was put out there, because we have to plan for that, because it takes us forever to do anything. So the answer is maybe, because right now we are not talking about phase 2, but phase 2 only impacts Guilford. And phase 2 is building new assisted living. Well, we may build it, we may not. Because again, that was 4 years ago. So Richard, maybe. As it gets closer, if I'm still here, I will promise you I will let you know. Back it up. I thought you can't hear me. Okay. So can y'all still hear me? Huh?
We don't care,
Can you still hear me though? Is that okay? All right. Any other comments, questions, thoughts for the common good?
Could you address the issue of parking? It's really severe, and the food trucks are taking up 5 spaces all day, all night, even though they're only here for a couple of hours. And that it's really getting bad for the parking, to have to walk past, when you've got groceries, and have to walk past 3 and 4 buildings in the rain to get to your apartment.
Yes, ma'am. I'll do my best to address it. So a couple things. One, my understanding is the shutdown of the kitchen exhaust is going well. Oh, I forgot to tell y'all something. Is going well. And that should be done by this Friday, maybe Saturday at the latest. As you know, where we were having to send some people back here to park, we now have opened back this up. So the food trucks will be going away, I guess, Friday. Be the last, Donna? Tomorrow's the last day. So that piece will go away. We just had another meeting today. We've had issues where contractors are parking in our parking, and so I think you saw they put a sign up over here by the 1000 building. I don't know if that's helping or not, but we're also trying to get them to park inside the construction site and not on the perimeter road or up here. We still have our own contractors that, even though we talk to them, the next day it's a new person coming out, and so we don't have good signage saying, even if it says resident parking only, just like smoking, people don't see that. We will continue to try to communicate about parking. We're trying to get staff, again, to park in the back here behind the 5000 building. All I will tell you is I don't think it's going to resolve until we get this part done. And I'm sorry. I truly am sorry.
Is there any way you can have special spots, numbered spots for the apartments, like a regular apartment building?
Yeah, so the question was, can we have numbered spots for apartment building? That was brought up a long time ago outside of construction. And I think collectively as a group, we just said no to that for a couple of reasons. I know it's an issue now. I hope it's a short-term issue. What I will take back is, again, going back and just reinforcing both the staff, our contractors, and our construction project about them being respectful when they're parking, not to parking the residents. And as Don always tells them, and don't park in the spots facing the building. If you're going to park, at least park in the ones facing the perimeter road to save those spots for our residents. I apologize. And Penny, after I answer your question, there was a couple of things I got to share that I forgot to mention. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
would like to say that whenever you had the service of remembrance, there were quite a few people out here in the lobby waiting to come in, me being one of them. Very disappointed, to say the least. I think that Donna needs to apologize to all of us for having that in the newsletter last Friday, that we would have a service of remembrance, but not stating that it was for staff only. And also, on the day that we had it, and you and Donna both were in here, the least you could have done was one or both of you come out to the door, and you could have apologized about the fact that it was just for staff only. And I don't think you could get kudos for that at all. That's very disappointing.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about that. Why was Giffords?
If you'll just wait 1 second, just so you can use the microphone.
Why was Giffords service of remembrance for everybody and not restricted to just staff?
Well, I mean, my response to that is, and I want to be careful because everybody has a right to their opinion, and God forbid any of us make mistakes, right? So at the end of the day, we had a service of remembrance. And last year, it was just staff. So we have a history of, that's it. And the other thing we have is some residents would like to bring their family members, understandably, which we cannot do. We also are in a situation where we were making a decision of what to do, so we were consistent here at West. We were consistent with what we did last year. It's plain and simple.
Not over there.
Well, and she said not over there. One of the things that we're working on, and that's, if you've heard me for the last 5 years, is Friends Homes, right? But at the end of the day, we're trying to be more consistent. We're trying to be more consistent. But I will tell you, and this has nothing to do with Donna or myself or Linda, and I don't want to get a back and forth. And Penny, I hear you. I want to respond, but you and I have already talked already. We're human people. We're human. And I'm sorry we disappointed you. I will go back to the fact that we are going to have something in January. I'm very excited about that. I look forward to joining as a community to acknowledge those that we've lost over the last 2 years. And I hope in your heart you can find forgiveness. So I'll stop there, and I'm going to keep going on to other things. I want to share a little bit about maintenance. I'm sorry I forgot to mention this. So the HVAC changeovers are continuing. So far, if you remember, we got a little slow up, forget COVID, because we had to go in and change all the pipes so we could cut the water off without impacting everybody. So now we're rocking and rolling. We do about 8 a month, which maybe doesn't sound like a lot, but it actually is. And what we're trying to do is we do a vacant and occupied. So we do about 8 a month. So far, we've done 23, but now they said they're in a groove. One of the things that we've been waiting on for a long time is we still have holes in some of the drywalls, if you will, and those are for access panels. So we're putting an access panel because that's how you get to the water shutoff. And we've been trying to get the access panels. Well, my understanding from talking to Ricky Joe, they're in, and starting next week, they should be installed. I don't know how long that will take, but hopefully those holes will disappear and we'll actually have an access panel now. Sorry you've been looking at holes for a while now. Exhaust fans, my understanding that project is going well. And the exhaust fans for bathrooms, they finished up to 2,000 building. My understanding they're doing the rewiring on the 1,000 building, and this might have been a Donna's thing. And they're going to be moving to 3,000 building after that. So that project is moving forward. And the other two things I told Rose that I will share with you is that if you are independent, but when you go out of town, if you could let us know that, maybe let Rose stop by and let her know so we can, because whether we're doing a check-in or, believe it or not, your neighbors care about you. So if they haven't seen you, they go, I haven't seen, and then, but if we know you're out of town, it just allows us, without us getting everybody worried that something's happened to you. So if you are going to be out of town, if you'll let Rose know so she can make people aware. And she told me to let you know we now have a manicurist in a beauty shop. And so they're on Monday. So if that is something that interests you, give her some business. I can't remember her name. Maybe it's Mary. I'll take a guess there. Don't call her Mary if that's not her name. But anyway, we're glad to have her. So on Monday is when she is here. So, questions? Yes, ma'am.
Arnie, I'm sorry to have to say this again,
That's okay.
but I just want to let you know that as executive director and Donna as associate executive director, I really think in my heart that one of you or both of you should have come out to this door on the other day and apologized for the fact, and you did not do that, which puts a damper in what I think about you and Donna.
Yes,
That
ma'am.
that is not fair. It is not fair to us. It is not fair to anybody. And I'm sorry, but it's going to take me a while to get over that because my husband had passed away 2 months to the day
Yes,
when we
ma'am.
had this. And needless to say, I was looking forward to it.
Mine is not so serious.
Okay.
You have a new sign
Yes,
at the front.
yes,
Is there plans to put the address on the sign?
yes. So that sign that's at the front is not the final sign. So we have a new sign. Both Guilford and West are getting new signs. The one that's out there now is it's just a temporary sign. The one that's coming is going to say Friends Homes. It's going to have our logo, Friends Homes, and it's going to say West Campus, and then it'll have the address of 6100. That sign that's out there was the exact one they used over at Guilford when they were replacing those signs. The new sign, waiting on a permit, 30 to 45 days. Good question.
Will there be some kind of Christmas decoration on the sign for this year?
Do we know?
We did not put, there was nothing out there last year.
Okay.
And people in the balcony that's right there at the front that looks kind of like a main entrance, they hung their wreath, which was a small wreath.
Put the microphone close to your mouth.
They took their small wreath that they had for the balcony and hung it out over the railing, and that was the only kind of Christmas decoration that we had. I think that we should have something better.
All right, so what I will say, I hear you. I will tell you, in the 21 years I've been doing this, Christmas decorations are always a fun topic. For those that are yay and those that are like eh, what I'll share with you is my understanding that, and Don, I'm going to look to you to help me with this, we have a general understanding of what we do and don't do as far as decorations. And I think residents, kind of a committee helps us with that. Is that fair? So what I will share with you is if you've got a personal feeling about what we should be doing or not doing, I would say run that through which committee? Donna?
What Hannah shared at the resident council was that she really would like residents to participate. The areas that the staff will make sure decorated are this room, the temporary resident lounge, the temporary dining room, and the lobby area. Other areas are really resident areas, and so if you're going to decorate a parlor or a balcony, if you want those decorated, we really ask that you kind of talk that out with your entire hall so it's not offensive to somebody on the hall, and that you keep that, you know, so that it's as generalized as possible, but that it's not offensive to somebody.
And so I'll go back to on the front sign. So we normally put something on the front sign?
I don't recall
No?
that we
Okay.
have.
Yeah, all right. So again, good, bad, we're part of a community, so we all have individual thoughts, feelings, but you know, we kind of make decisions as a group. Yes, sir.
Arnie, I understand that you are an employee of Presbyterian Homes.
That is correct.
Would you help me understand what is the relationship of Presbyterian Homes Board of Directors to what happens here?
So what is the relationship of the Board of Governors, I guess, for Presbyterian Homes as it relates to here?
Well,
how much influence do they have, how much say do they have in what happens here?
Oh, how much say, influence? None that I'm aware of. We're led by the Board of Trustees of Friends Homes. It's made up of 19 trustees. So if you think about an org chart or a hierarchy, whatever, you've got the Board of Trustees for Friends Homes. There are 19 trustees, 4 of those are residents. And then under that, you've got the management service agreement with the Presbyterian Homes. And that's not with the Presbyterian Home Board, that's with the management company under the Presbyterian Homes. And then under that, you got me, and then you got Donna and Missy, and then you've got our staff. So I'm not aware of anything related to the Board of Governors with Presbyterian Homes doing or saying anything about us. We are led by the trustees of Friends Homes. That's our boss, if you will.
Where do the Quakers fit in there?
Where do the Quakers fit in there?
Yeah, where do they fit in?
So tell me what you mean by that.
What influence do they have? I know she referred to us as a Quaker community earlier.
Right.
Are we?
We are, yes. And so, so of our 19 members, again, 4 are residents. Only one of those residents is Quaker. And then of the remaining 15, I know the majority of the board is Quaker. What I mean by that, they practice, right? All of us maybe can say we're Quaker just because we believe in some of their fundamentals, but they actually practice. They participate in meetings and stuff. So I would say I think 11 of our board members are practicing Quakers. 3 are residents that are not Quakers. And then the other people that are on the board either grew up as a Quaker or do not practice anymore, or have, maybe they're Presbyterian now, or they're Methodist. So I would like to put to rest, and then I'm getting a sense here that I don't really quite appreciate. This is a Quaker community, and if you're upset about something, don't blame it on the Presbyterians. Don't blame it. This is ran by the Board of Trustees. At the end of the day, the buck stops with them. So we just spent 9 months working on a strategic plan. This is board-led. This is the direction. So, yeah, so I mean, ask the questions, but I'm not really sure where you're going, so, yes.
What is the percentage of increase in the rent this year?
The increase for independent living is 4%, and for assisted living and skilled nursing is 4.5%. It's been pretty much forever and a day, I believe, 3% in the past and 3.5% for healthcare. Teresa.
Is the strategic plan you just referred to up on the website?
No, it has not. It has not been approved. So we.
Will it be once it is?
Yeah. Did you say the website?
Cambridge, however.
Yeah, yeah. So, yes. Typically, what we do once it's approved, it goes out so residents can see it and see the action items, what the plans are. And just remember, it's a 5-year strategic plan. Last time we put it out, I had people say, "Why aren't you working on this?" I'm like, "Oh, got that for 2 years from now." So, but yeah, once it will not be approved. I think till December 14th is the next board meeting.
Any talk about changes in the alcohol policy?
No change, no discussion. Both, I will tell you, that will not be a board-led discussion. The last time we made a change to alcohol policy, it was a resident-led initiative that made its way to the board. But again, Quaker fundamentals, not that some Quakers don't drink, they do, but abstinence or abstaining from alcohol. So it will not, that will not be a board-led conversation. It would have to be a resident kind of initiative. I'll leave it there. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so I've got maybe 1 or 2 more questions. I've got to get over to Guilford for their chat, which starts at 3. And last time I made Teresa wait too long.
Are you saying that Quakers and Friends are the same, or are they 2 different organizations?
Are Quakers and Friends the same? I might have to call him Don on this.
Are referring to Quakers, do you mean Friends? Or are Quakers also, are Friends also known as Quakers?
Yeah, I would say yes, but I'm gonna defer to Donna, because the last thing I'm gonna do is mess, is that?
Quaker is a nickname for the Religious Society of Friends. The Religious Society of Friends is Quaker. The nickname is there because at the very beginning of time of the Quaker faith, which was in 1652, people would sit around and wait for God to speak to them, and they would quake. And so they got the nickname of Quakers.
I just learned something new. I did not know that. All right. One last question, anybody? No? Well, thank y'all so much for being here. I appreciate y'all's participation. Enjoy the rest of your day. And don't forget, change your clocks, right? Did you change your clocks this weekend? All right, change your clocks. Get an extra hour of sleep. Thank goodness. Thank you.
Somehow he got a message the other day from his mother, and I am close friends for many, many years, and Donnie Clark is world. But anyhow, you see Marty? And I said, I've never seen Marty. He said, well, when you see him, tell him I appreciate it.
Doesn't this have software